yeah.
Look it. We're here.
We're tiny. So the reason why this currently looks strange is because I just landed. Oh, well, there that goes. I just landed in New Orleans, and for whatever reason, my webcam won't work. So I'm streaming this on my phone, but then I can't hear Perna for whatever reason through my phone. So we're doing the audio through my laptop, the video through my phone, and we're gonna do GPS.
Yeah. We're here.
Hold on, can I hear myself?
Yeah.
Oh, Perna.
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I heard the intro music through my phone, but I can't hear you through my phone.
Oh, weird.
How the hell does that make any sense?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Oh, baby. I don't have a pen, so hold on. I have oh God. I have beads. We here. Got it. Nailed it. Crush
we
it.
steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna, and this is GPS. Yes. Apologies for I'm trying to balance my phone on an ice bucket right now. So as you can see, things are going very well.
Very well. Yeah. No, Tom literally just got into that hotel room. I, on the other hand, slept in till 7:30. Been really taking it easy this morning. Having a little extra coffee, getting ahead.
No, this is not okay. Yeah. No, I'm glad that you've had a good day. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
A.M.
After 4 a.m. And
I did too, to go pee. And I was like, man. And I literally thought, I'm like, some people get up this early to start their day. I'm like, I can go back to sleep for a couple hours. Then I started thinking about like those people, those rich fucks who are always like, I start my day every day at 4 a.m. I do a 15-minute thing in the sauna. Then I just sit in water for 15 minutes because that connects me to earth. Then I work out for an hour. By 6 a.m., I'm having coffee, my first breakfast. I was literally thinking this at 4 a.m. So you were getting up, and I was thinking about how much BS all these like gurus are about their day-to-day schedule. So
I mean, I used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning every day, and that wasn't fun. I had to wake up at 4:30 for one job.
That's just to get to work. I'm talking about the people who get up 4 hours before their day even starts, and then they just tell us how shitty the rest of us are for not getting up that early.
Yeah, I don't. I don't have. I get no sleep as it is. So waking up anywhere. Yeah, there is toilet paper. Yes, there's a bathroom in here. There is. So there is. Yeah, I'm not going to the Super Bowl. I'm here for 2 charity dinners and for Radio Row for 3 days. I'll be back late Friday night. So I appreciate y'all. I know this is obviously not the usual here, so I appreciate it. You demand feet? No. Just because I donated doesn't mean that that's a thing. Nay. Anyway, Perna. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Just want the Super Bowl to be over with at this point, you know? Just like, let's get it over with. Let's see if the Eagles can stop the Chiefs from three-peating. So today we're going to talk about the Eagles, how we think they can win this game, and then Friday we'll focus, in on the Chiefs and how they can win the game. So today will be about the Eagles. Probably a shorter show than normal. But everything here is par for the course, Tom.
So what we planned on doing, right, is that today we'll talk about why we think the Eagles can win the Super Bowl. Friday we'll talk about why the Chiefs can win the Super Bowl. There is some other stuff to talk about because while, of course, on Monday while we were doing GPS, do I have enough toilet paper? There's only 2 rolls in there, so I do hope that there's going to be more people coming because that's not going to sustain me for 3 days. That's the grass person diet. There's no way.
Ooh.
But anyway, we talk about Myles Garrett requesting a trade, right? But Cooper Kupp, the Rams requesting that he gets traded.
You're done, Coop.
They're like, hey, it's not us, it's you.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because watching some of the reactions of this, you can kind of see like who's been in the geist of like football and like what's going on because, oh boy, Cooper Kupp did not have a great year this year. Obviously a bunch of injuries. He's getting older. Puka has definitely been the guy there. I'm holding up my phone with my right hand, by the way, this entire time. As you see this open bathroom, it's really just it's perfect view. But yeah, so I'm curious kind of what your thoughts on that and like what even, I don't think he's a first round pick. I don't think he's going for that. I think like you're going like third, fourth, maybe something like that, depending on what his contract is going to be.
It's well, I think today they came out and the Rams said that they're willing to eat part of his salary to help facilitate a trade. So that's one part of it because I believe his contract's pretty significant for this next season.
I got you
in a second, but yeah, the last 2 seasons really have been disappointing for Kupp, and a big part of that has been injuries. But
sure,
it's like you look at his 2021 season, it feels, and that was an insane season, one of top 5 receiver seasons of all time, really.
Oof.
You almost hit 2,000 receiving yards, didn't 145 receptions, but since then, it's never been this. It's never been 16 touchdowns, 6 TDs. He was absent late in the season for the Rams. Those 2 games were just one catch, and then he was a little more active against the Eagles. But I don't know what Cooper Kupp's value is.
Yeah,
he's 31 years old. That's another part of it. He's a great route runner. He's a guy who knows how to get open. I think the fit for Kupp in the next offense is going to be really key to, how he can perform over the next couple seasons. I don't think he's like done. I think he has a couple solid years where he's got to go somewhere where he's going to be like the number 2 receiver.
Because I think that that's Puka's Puka, right? And I feel like he's burst out onto the scene. It was very quick that he was going to be the number 1 guy. But you mentioned the contract before. So this upcoming year, his base is $12.5 million. So his cap hit is 29.7 mil. And then in 2026, his base goes up to 14.8 mil plus the 4 million signing bonus. So yeah, it's a lot of money. So the Rams are definitely going to have to accommodate that, if they're going to get any value. So I can't imagine the value is going to be a ton. I would think at most it's going to look like a day 2 pick. But I think that like his services will be, like you said, if he doesn't have to be the number 1 guy, I feel like that there can be some value for him somewhere.
Yeah, and I think like the other part of this, it's a trade and probably a restructuring of his contract too.
Sure.
So the Rams are going to work with Kupp. I don't think it'll be an issue of like him finding a team that will rework his contract a little bit because like nobody's going to want to necessarily pay and have those cap hits, right? Like that's what you got to kind of rework to maybe probably spread that money out an extra year, reduce your cap hits, all that stuff. I don't know how it transfers over. If the Rams trade him, if the new team, what cap hit they're getting, like all of that gets weird and complicated. But
sure.
The one thing like we didn't really touch on with Myles Garrett either is he's requested the trade. One, the Browns have to be willing to trade him.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything.
I think they're going to play. Like, I think Garrett's at the point where, he won't play if they don't trade him. I think they'll work with him, but they don't have to send Myles Garrett somewhere he wants to go, right?
Correct.
Like, they don't have to do that. He wants to go to a contender. So that situation's a little bit different in that I think this one is a more both parties are going to work with each other. Myles Garrett and the Browns, we don't know how they're going to work together on facilitating their trade. So,
yeah, no, well, we talked about that a little bit on Monday, and just like at the end of the day, like players can request trades all the time, right? And it's up to the teams to say yes or no. And for the Browns, right, like they're going to have to decide, okay, if we are going to be giving Myles Garrett up, and that's what I mentioned, like the trade value has to be insane, like the capital. And like I think you're starting with probably 2 first-round picks, even though he is a bit older. It depends on the contract, but I think the Browns are going to try and get absolutely everything that they possibly can, because if they give away, their best player, then they're going to be basically starting back from zero. So, they still have some great guys on that roster, and it's just, dude, that Watson trade just absolutely demolished them. And at that point too, are you trading with a team that is just going to give up like early capital so you can go and try, and get that rebuild going right now? So, yeah.
And I think like, somebody's like, why would anybody give the Browns what they want if everybody knows Myles Garrett wants to get out of there? And it's not so much that a team's willing to give the Browns what they want. It's that a team doesn't want another team to get Myles Garrett, right? So it's Team X will give up those 2 first-rounders to prevent Team Y from getting Myles Garrett. If it's a rival, that's where his market gets driven up, not because like the Browns are in a position of leverage. But anyway, we'll see. Like those are 2 big names. There's obviously going to be a handful of big free agent quarterbacks that are on the market. But we'll talk about all that stuff after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. Yes. No, again, this is not my new house. I am in a hotel. I just got to the hotel. Yes, I just landed in New Orleans this morning. So apologies for the clunky setup. I'm not being held hostage. I promise I'm okay. But Brandon,
these are my old new headphones, Tom. Today's episode sponsored by Turtle Beach.
Blinking.
If this episode needed to be more complicated, which it didn't, it is now. Because with these on, I can't hear Tom.
What?
Huh?
Who?
Huh?
Oh, while you're doing the ad read, I'll show people the hotel room.
Turtle Beach, giving you a tour of Tom's hotel room. These are my gaming headphones. I actually, I didn't really play too many video games for January. I was too busy. But not last night. The night before, Jess and I are in bed. I'm kind of burnt out on shows. So I'm like, let me fire up the Xbox. I put on the Turtle Beach Gen 3 Stealth 700 headphones, played some Halo, and I was terrible. It was like I hadn't played in months. And before that, I hadn't played in years. It all came out. I cost my team every single match. We didn't win a single one. And I was just dying a lot. But every death sounded great in the Turtle Beach Stealth headphones. I could hear myself literally sucking the life out of my teammates with these bad boys on. I could hear their despair, Tom. Yeah. If you're going to support Turtle Beach, do it with our code GPS. We got a link in the description. You just got to use our code. You're going to get 10% off your entire order. turtlebeach.com with promo code GPS. Honestly, I had never used like gaming headphones that weren't like the ones that come with your console, like the old ones, were just like the
crappy ones, yeah.
The foam one, dude. It's such a better gaming experience with these. Happy that Turtle Beach is back, and today their promo code actually is helping our layout because we got this stupid extra box we can't take off the screen. So Turtle Beach helping us in multiple ways today. Link in the description if you're looking for upgrading your gaming experience. This is how you do it, baby.
But it sounds like it doesn't make you better at video games.
No, dude, I was so bad. I played like 4 rounds. I'm like, all right, this isn't even fun.
That's fair. Is it just like the reflexes, the hand-eye coordination?
Yeah, it's like you got to just dial into shooting. The games are so fast, They're like all over the place. And they were all these like capture the flag matches, which I don't really like anyway. But I was doing quick play. It just kept putting me there. I just kept getting destroyed.
Hell yeah. All right.
You want to dive into these Eagles games? Or
in un momento, per favore. You have a Chris Jones on Bo Nix.
Yeah, you know what?
I didn't see this.
Chris Jones, quit being so nice.
Oh,
Chris Jones is too likable, Tom. I have to hate the Chiefs, but that man, he's too damn nice. He was way too complimentary of Bo Nix. Let me bring it up. This fucking fuck Chris Jones, you son of a bitch.
By the way, while you're looking that up, so Travis Kelce, Andy Reid definitely is like, I have no plans on retiring. And then Travis Kelce was like, oh, I can still play. It's these moments, it's these months. Yeah, because he keeps going to the Super Bowl. I think I'm not shocked there. He's like, you know what, guys? I kind of like this winning thing and like, going to the biggest game of the year every year. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, I knew Andy Reid I knew he was definitely going to come back, but I think Jason Kelce kind of said like he didn't know if this was going to be Travis's last game.
Yeah.
So I think there began to be like a storyline that this could be his last game. He might be retiring after this. I know he signed like a 3-year deal. Was it last year or something? And like Kelce is at a spot in his career where if he didn't want to play for the first half of the season to keep his body right, the Chiefs will allow him to do that. But anyway, yeah. Jones asked about Bo Nix. Here's this son of a bitch being way too nice to my team.
I think he had an exceptional year as a young player. Was able to watch him at Auburn and Oregon. I got so much respect for him. Hopefully he continue his journey of continue to get better and better. And, they got a heck of a team over there. He's patient. He's decisive. He know how to manage the game, take a low risk, relies on what he sees, and knows how to make adjustments.
Shut up, Chris. Say he sucks. Say he sucks.
It would be better.
I've always liked Chris Jones.
He's like, he tries.
Yeah.
He tries to be nice.
Anyway.
That's pretty damn funny. Okay, so you just wanted to be more nasty so you can actually have a better rivalry and have a more...
Yeah, say, you know what? Not impressed by that guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Dude, Zach Stevens from DNVR, he was out on the floor during media week here, and he asked a bunch of Chiefs players, like, he's like, I'm going to give you 2 quarterbacks. These were their stats. Who are you taking? And it was Mahomes' stats and Bo Nix's stats. They were blind to him. And he got a lot of them to go with Bo Nix just based on the stat line from this season. So very well played, Zach. Very well played.
You just have to go to resorting to lying and deceit, and then Bo Nix is your guy.
Yeah.
I will say, though,
Yes.
Obviously. I got you.
Obviously.
Someone else, because who knows? We'll see what Travis Kelce and Andy Reid do. But another person who thinks that they have some good football left in them is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
Oh, I was hurt.
He goes, he's like, I'm useless to the Falcons now. Thanks for that, that millions and millions of dollars, though. That was pretty sick. And now it's just like, I think I have some good football. It's just be a matter of getting my body right and getting healthy. I'm curious as to where he actually goes. Because, I don't know where he's going to be as a starter. You know what I mean? I feel like he could be a backup or maybe a guy you bring into camp. But yeah, I don't know where good old Cousins goes. I agree with that, Jen. I'm sure it could be very aggressively nice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Bo Nix he's a little too nice too, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, how did the Falcons even move on from Kirk's contract?
They do what the Broncos do, and then just go, all right, we're just going to eat this dead cap and call it a day, and hopefully we have the same level of success the Broncos did and make the playoffs, because that's where they should have been this year, unfortunately, but they couldn't get it done. Yeah, I don't know where because obviously the 49ers are always going to be linked to Kirk Cousins, but
they got
Cousins back up JJ back in Minnesota. There you go. Bring him on back to Minnesota for no money, and that's about it.
Yeah, they got to trade him if he wants to go somewhere else. It's like they got to trade him because
they're going to cut him though, dude.
Does it come out that they are going to cut him for sure?
That happened a few months ago. That it was the likelihood is that they're going to cut him.
Yeah, but they still have to.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of dead money. That's a dumb situation that they put themselves in with his contract. Like, they didn't have to give him that much money coming off an injury. But anyway, they have their backup plan, so whatever.
They did it. You're not wrong. Oh, real quick, I want to get your opinion on this. Okay. I saw a clip that someone who I guess they had a pass. Like they got a reporter.
Oh yeah.
They went to Mahomes. It was like, a lot of people have helped you throughout your career. So who's your favorite ref?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this a little bit because I know that's funny, but there has been, so the referee organization, like the union, spoke out and was like, hey, what is this? Like, there's a whole bunch of narratives going on that they cover the same team at most twice during the regular season, and we get graded on every single play and every single game, and that determines who goes into the playoffs. Goodell was asked about the Chiefs and the refs, and Travis Kelce spoke out about it too, and was just like, why is the media running with this? Because they obviously started getting some more questions.
Yeah, because somebody asked Kelce, like, if you could ask the media a question, what would it be? So he said, why are you leaning into this refs thing? This was the statement that was put out by Executive Director Scott Green of the NFL Referees Association. I think, there's two things that happen here. One, the Chiefs get favorable calls in the playoffs. And it's not to say that those are the reasons they win the games, but versus the Texans, they had a big call go their way with the roughing the passer. They had another big call. And then in the Bills game, you got the weird spot thing, and you got the reception that was given to Xavier Worthy, even though, no way he should have been awarded that reception. There was a penalty on the play. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. So there is a thing there that we have seen. And it goes back to the Eagles Super Bowl as well. We saw the defensive holding. And those have been big games. There's extra eyeballs on those games. So they're going to garner more attention.
Yeah, that's what we talk about. Yeah.
That's why. That's why that narrative is there, and that's why people are interested in it.
Sure.
Then we have this thing called the internet, guys. And if you just look at the state of our country, information is going to travel in two directions, no matter what it is. It's going to be what the truth is, and it's going to be the conspiracies. So a conspiracy now, even if it's not real, is going to be elevated to levels that it should never be elevated to. And that's what we have with NFL officiating. It is too easy for too many people to say rigged, it's rigged. And let's take it back to, when did you start your scripted series about the NFL? This has been 2 years in the making, right? Yeah. Guys like us were joking about it. Sure. And now it's become something that's happened so many times that people in real media, like Adam Schefter, are comfortable saying, oh, there's a disparity here. There's a thing here. That's why.
Well, I think there's a couple things, right? So to the one, I don't know who the reporter was, the one who asked Mahomes that question.
I don't know if it's even a reporter.
He got media day access. You know what I mean? So
some guy, anybody can get that shit.
Well,
you're going to be there, for fuck's sake.
Well, that's just Radio Row. That's I'm just St. Jude. But in terms of, but that was, I think that's super cringy in real life because, it is, dude, you know how many people would kill to be in that position to ask Patrick Mahomes a question on Super Bowl Media Day? I think that's just cringy. But in talking about what you mentioned, because I think gambling has a part to play in this as well, because it opens things up for more scrutiny. And you and I have talked about not even the gambling aspect, but the matter of the lack of transparency. We look how the XFL does things or the USFL does things and how they handle ref calls. And there is a significant lack of transparency within the NFL. So because of that, and again, you will have a game, look at the AFC Championship game, you will have a game where you'll have the broadcasters. And I always look at it from the lens of hey, imagine you were a casual fan tuning into football, right? Because the AFC Championship game was a very highly watched game, as is the Super Bowl. If you're watching this for one of the first times, you're not really tuning into football a lot, and you have broadcasters who are saying that this is a wrong spot, and this is the wrong call, boom, 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 boom. And that's what they're getting. And all they're hearing from the referee is, oh, it's not a first down. well, there's no in between. Well, okay, well, how did you arrive to that?
Yeah.
Right. And because there's a lack of process there to the general audience, that is just going to leave it even more susceptible to, okay, we're going to fill in the blanks with narratives. Right. And again, we've talked about this ad nauseum about just ref calls and inconsistency with the officiating. And we've seen it years and years and years and years and years. And there's going to be certain teams and certain players that are going to get calls, or maybe they're going to get a little bit more like lax with them. Sure. Aaron Rodgers was one of them, right? Patrick Mahomes was one of them. Tom Brady was one of them. These elite quarterbacks are going to get more calls often than not. So I think it sucks because, again, if you're a Chiefs fan, this is just the only thing you're hearing now. And I think that because there are folks who are literally looking at it, because there are folks who literally go, oh, no, this is rigged. Like, they're like, this is, we do not think that this is a game that's occurring in all fairness.
Yeah.
And so I think at the end of the day, like, it has just created a storm that now that you have the media talking about it so much, dude, like, come Sunday, if there is a controversial call that goes in the Chiefs' favor, it is not going to be a fun time on the internet.
Yeah. And like, if I was a Chiefs fan, I'd be super annoyed with it too. Like, it detracts from what your team does well. Yeah. But
because the Packers got a lot of those calls. Like, the Packers have benefited when they had Aaron Rodgers. Like, they benefited from a lot of like good calls. Like, ask the Lions, they'll tell you. Yeah. And at some point, like, everyone's just like reference, and I was like, okay, guys, like, I don't know, I can't do anything. Like, what do you want me to do? I can say I disagree with this call, and that's just what it is. And that's why, whether it impacts the Packers in a negative way, I'm just like, do they have an opportunity to win the game? Because unfortunately, the NFL has decided that this is a part of the game.
Yeah.
Like the Patriots got a ton of it too. Like when they were going on their streak.
The Patriots also cheated. So that's, they cheated and they got help from the refs.
Venmo is not illegal in this country, ZJ. Yeah. It is not. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, we need one Chiefs cheating scandal. That's what I need. The other there's two other things too. All right. Officiating might actually be better than it has ever been before.
Sure.
Go back, just say 20 years, right? When all games weren't even broadcast in HD. So you've got to play down a sideline where we can see this much green of Devontae Smith's foot. Oh, he's in bounds. We got this angle. We can actually see he was in bounds. Like, there's a time where it would be impossible to tell because the quality of that broadcast wasn't even good enough for us to have a definitive thing. And then social media allows you to have visual evidence immediately. Like, it is a bad call in a football game that is on the internet in seconds. And we all have access to the conclusive evidence of it being a bad or good call. And that takes off so quickly now. And it becomes a talking point. Whereas, like, if you were mad about a call in a game before, you had to, wait until you were at work on Monday to think about it at the water cooler or something, right? Or see it in a freaking newspaper or see it on Sports Center later. We just have so much visual access to the game. And you bring up the point where it's like, all right, if we have all of this, the NFL's next thing they have to do is capitalize on that and make sure they're getting the best possible call from their standpoint. And you can't ask the officials on the field to do that because they don't see the same shit we do. And then they get a limited window to go and look at a replay on certain situations. They just need to have somebody in their ear to correct those things. Like, we know what the solution is. It's just, when will the NFL implement that and make it part of the game?
And again, it's also like, right, like, we will see, like, let's look at an egregious call like that you could look at. So like, sorry, I'm in New Orleans. So let's talk about Rams Saints. Like,
yes, that's probably the best one.
That is like the most egregious. I don't know how you could
non-call
that anything else but pass interference, because he literally lights them up before the ball's there. So there's that. But the problem is, like, there needs to be that level of accountability. But two, unless it's something like that, so many of these plays are bang bang plays that they're having at full speed, that they're not being seen. And like, we slow it down or they show a replay on TV and it's like, let's just say it was a penalty that wasn't called. And you see it like frame by frame by frame by frame. The rest are not looking at that if they're on the next play, right? So the viewing audience is stuck on that last play of like, why wasn't that pass interference? Why wasn't that holding? But they're already moving on, and it's like, oh, now they're because the refs just straight up didn't see it. And I'm not even excusing that, but if you have watched football for any amount of time, everybody is cheating on every single snap. Everybody is holding. Everyone's trying to get away with it. Talk to any offensive lineman, talk to any defensive lineman. And again, I'm not using this as an excuse because I still think the officiating can get better, or at least the communication with the viewing audience could get significantly better, reduce, any kind of or lack of transparency.
And I mean, and then the issue too is like when you do slow it down frame by frame and the official is reviewing it, and then they come away ruling that Xavier Worthy caught the ball, you're like, wait, how does that make sense based on, the rule of how you judge a catch? So that's the other problem. Like when they do have the time to look at something slow down like that, they have to get the call right like 100% of the time. And I think they need extra help doing that because there's a lot of pressure for an official on the field to be looking and re-looking at a replay and then making that call. Also, the game gets annoying too when everything is broken down like that. When we're dissecting, like say a touchdown catch and whether or not a ball slightly moved after a dude hit the ground, like if he fucking caught it, just say he caught it, and we don't need to nitpick those things. But unfortunately, like I don't know if we're gonna get away from that at any point ever, because asking them to be like, did it look like a catch? Then let's just go with it being a catch. It's better for the game. It was cool. Let's rule of cool. Let's apply that.
I'm so glad that this was brought up, and then this was the comment right beneath it. Because, right? So, like, if you go by the rules back in 2014, like, that was not a catch. It was the whole, what is a catch? Right? But, man, like, that's unfortunately, because there's also the other element where the rules are written in such a way that it leaves it open for interpretation, or it leaves it open of like, maybe this should be tweaked, but hey, I got to call it the way that it's written. Right.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Went on a little tangent. Let's talk about, so again, we're going to talk about why the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl on Friday. But today, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and why we think that they could potentially pull this off. You did your predictions, right? I did my predictions last week.
Yeah.
So the way that I looked at this was that on paper, I think the Eagles, they have the better defense, right? Their defense is phenomenal. They have the better run game. Because Isaiah Pacheco, like, never really got it going. Kareem Hunt has been very consistent, right? But it's not like, oh, man, this is amazing run game that they have. And I think that looking at the turnovers, that the Eagles have caught 10 turnovers in 3 games, and they haven't turned the ball over a single time. The Chiefs were very good with that too, right? They only turned it over once, and that was the AFC Championship game. They had a 8-game streak of not turning the ball over. But they both have 10 sacks.
Twice in that game because Mahomes fumbled and oh no, that was Lamar throwing the pick.
Yeah, it was
Never
just
mind.
One.
Mahomes fumbled. Yeah,
it was just one. So the fact that you have this Eagles team that has a great run game and a great defense, which is basically the bread and butter of a championship team, right? And like you have a defense that can get after the quarterback, you're forcing turnovers, and you have a run game that you can rely on. And as I've seen last week or 2 weeks ago now in the NFC Championship game, like Jalen Hurts can play ball, right? He gets a lot of hate, but man can play ball, especially A.J. Brown is rocking. So I think what it's going to come down to for the Eagles to win this game is like they are going to have to continue doing what they have been doing and turning the ball over. Not turning the ball over and forcing those turnovers. And if they're able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, I think they got a really good shot. It's just, the Chiefs have all this experience that they have like coming into this, and like they should have all the confidence in the world. We talk about momentum and all that great stuff. If Barkley is not able to get things going and they do have to rely on Hurts and the Chiefs are able to get after Hurts, then you can see something going a little bit different.
Yeah, Hurts as a passer is not on the same level as Patrick Mahomes. Under pressure. Sure. So when under pressure, that's when you worry about Jalen Hurts as a passer. But also, Hurts, like Mahomes, does a great job at mitigating pressure by making plays with his legs when he needs to. So that's where I think, like, if the Chiefs are going to, stymie Philadelphia's offense, it's through Chris Jones, that kind, gentle man he is, doing what he's done all postseason, and that's create pressure. He can do it from the interior. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is it's too good. And I think Kareem Hunt has been a pretty good running back this postseason. I think the stat I put in there, he's like forced 11 missed tackles on 25 carries in the postseason. Kansas City just doesn't run a lot because every play that Patrick Mahomes has the ball in his hands, it's an advantage. So that's why they're going to throw it more. They use the short passing game as an extension of the run game better than any team, really. But we have not seen a running back and offensive line this good for a while in the NFL. And it's the relationship between Barkley and the Eagles offensive line. Like Derrick Henry had a great year. Jahmyr Gibbs is insane. But the way those Barkley and the Eagles line, and I've said it a couple times now, it just reminds me so much of the Broncos with Terrell Davis, because Terrell Davis is an incredible running back. But after he left, what we learned is like the Broncos offensive line, their blocking scheme, it was conducive to producing good running backs.
Yes.
Now, none of them were ever as good as Terrell Davis. But like Barkley in that unit, that's how Philadelphia is going to win. Like, I don't think that the Chiefs are going to shut down Saquon Barkley. And if it's slow to start, the Eagles will have to figure out other ways to move the ball early in this game. But it's not like they're going to get away from giving Barkley attempts if, the first few plays he's stuffed.
I agree. Right? They can't pull Ravens.
If Barkley is having success, which both the Texans and Bills were having success running against the Chiefs in the playoffs, Philadelphia will not stop. Like Derrick Henry, where the fuck did he go? James Cook, where the hell did he go late in the game? Sure. Philly's not going to do that. If they do that, I'm taking Sirianni out of my future Hall of Fame predictions. I will crucify that man. But I think it's as simple as just keep giving Saquon touches. Because every game that the Eagles have won in the playoffs has been because of Saquon, because of the big plays. Commanders, unfortunately, they got a dose of that medicine on his first touch. I don't think that'll happen to the Chiefs, but...
Well, because the Chiefs' run defense is significantly better than what we've seen. And if there's anything I'm worried about with the offensive line of the Eagles, it is their pass protection. Because like the Rams were able to take advantage of that. The Rams have a very good, pass rush. But so do the Chiefs. So like that's where I can see there be potential, because if that defense is good enough, meaning the Chiefs, if they're able to like put a damper on Saquon and like they're not able to convert like those even if it's just like holding them at 2 to 3 yards a carry, right? That would be a huge success. Like if you hold them to like 80 to 100 yards, I think that's a big success if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think ultimately, if the Chiefs are going to win, we'll talk about this on Friday, they're going to have to get after Jalen Hurts and stop that run. Yeah. And obviously that is a lot easier said than done, but it's exactly what you're talking about. If you could also design plays where you're able to just get the ball into Barkley's hands, and it doesn't even have to be running the ball, but like even just in space and just dumping it off, man, or setting up some screens, that he's a playmaker just running the ball. You know what I mean? Like he could spin, he could backwards hurdle you. It doesn't matter. So I think ultimately, if you're able to just get him going, obviously the Chiefs are going to key in on him. I think the Eagles have a really good shot. I mean, because the Chiefs in the games that they've won, like they're not even dominating time possession all the time. Like I'm talking about just the playoffs. Like that Texans game, like that wasn't pretty. They killed CJ Stroud back there and sacked him 8 times. But man, like it's going to be really interesting, because that is going to be the thing I'm going to be looking at the most is, okay, how is this Chiefs defense going to try and contain all of the weapons that the Eagles have? And at the same time, talking about the other side of the ball, like that Eagles defense, man, good God, if they're able to get some pressure, especially off of like the left side, it's going to be tough for Mahomes to do anything. And I don't think you're going to see a Mahomes Buccaneers kind of like Super Bowl, but the Eagles have that kind of defense to make their lives very, very miserable. Yeah.
What the Chiefs also, they keep 3 linebackers out on the field a lot, right? Bolton, Chanel, and Drew Tranquill. And that's one way you can stop Saquon. It's those guys being disciplined and filling those gaps and tackling Barkley before he hits the second level. So they have the playmakers, the Chiefs do on the defense, to slow down Barkley. So it comes down to like the Eagles being able to make plays with other guys, and they have those guys. Devontae Smith I think he can be like the X factor. He's had a lot of success against the Chiefs in their 3 meetings. You got AJ Brown, he's always good, and you got Dallas Goedert. So the Eagles have those other pieces if things are slow with Saquon to start, and if you overcommit to stopping Saquon, one of those guys got to step in and make plays for the Eagles. The Eagles defense, you mentioned it, like they have forced so many turnovers this postseason, and that's not by accident. Like I think it was Zach Bond I heard talking about it, or maybe it was Sirianni, but I think it was Zach Bond saying like Sirianni has told Philly and their defense to try and force turnovers every single time you go in for a tackle.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of those fumbles they forced, they're punching. They're just going in, and they have perfected the punch tackle, the peanut punch, whatever the fuck you want to call it. If there's a turnover, I don't think it's Mahomes throwing a pick. I think it's like Travis Kelce catching one over the middle, and it's Zach Bond or Orrin Burks coming in and popping that ball out when they tackle him. It's Hollywood Brown getting hit like that and fumbling it over to the Eagles defense, and they've been very good at recovering those fumbles. They always have another guy close. It's whether that's Cooper DeJean or Burks or Zach Bond. They've got so many playmakers on their defense, and Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, they've just been slam dunk draft picks for the Eagles on their defense, and they're being coached very well by Vic Fangio, who has experience against Patrick Mahomes. And you can debate whether or not he's been good against him. I watched all those games, and I thought like the reason the Broncos kept losing to the Chiefs wasn't because the defense wasn't keeping the team in the game. It's because the Broncos offense was terrible in those games, gave nothing to the Broncos defense when Fangio was their head coach. So at least he's familiar with him. And Philly, just like the Chiefs on defense, they got playmakers on every single level. And it really just comes down to why this game is so hard to predict is like which players are going to play mistake-free football and capitalize on those 1 or 2 turnovers or whatever it is. Like, and both teams are disciplined too. Like, you're not looking at one team and be like, oh yeah, their offense is great, but their defense puts them in a bad position a lot. No, they play great complementary football. It might come down to special teams, and I'm giving Chiefs advantage there. But
dude, it's going to be a coaching battle. Like it was like what we're seeing on that last Sunday night game between the Vikings and the Lions, which the Lions definitely won that one. But like seeing like both sidelines, like I could imagine it's going to be similar. I'm super excited for like, again, I think the quality of the game is going to be good, and it might be super low scoring maybe until like the fourth quarter if it ever breaks open. But like the Eagles, they can't do what the Ravens did last year in the AFC Championship game, right? They can't get away from the run. They can't decide to be like, hey, here's our identity and we're just going to get – and I don't think they're going to do that unless they are really struggling moving the ball with Saquon, which I can't imagine they're not going to find any success, right? So if they're able to – if they don't turn the ball over, I think the Eagles win this game.
Yeah, if there's no turnovers, I think that's fair. And at Philly, too, it's like they have a different approach, right? Like they are what we're going to do, stop it. It's like their tush push is kind of just like the exclamation point on how I think their offense is approaches games, right? Like we know what's coming when they do the tush push. Nobody can stop them. We know Saquon Barkley is the number one problem that would cost Kansas City the game.
Yeah.
Philly's going to come out and they're going to give him the ball. He's going to have 20 plus carries in this game. Like they're not going to get away from it. They're not going to get cute. And they're just going to bank on the fact that they believe they can beat you that way. And I'm sure there's Chiefs fans probably watching right now. We're going to talk about the Chiefs on Friday, why they can win. Today, it's about why we think the Eagles can win. We'll give the Chiefs their fair shake on Friday. Yeah. So don't think we're just doubling down on, Philly. But
That's a good point, Blush. Like if this game changes and like let's just say there's a couple quick turnovers, like it's a fumble or something, like whatever, then I can see them getting away from their game plan, and that is very much against Philadelphia.
I think most teams, yes, but the types of plays that Saquon breaks off, like why would you believe that you can't pick up 20 yards with Saquon Barkley? You know what I mean? But it's like that's in theory they know that. It's a different thing when you're in the game and it's the Super Bowl and there's the pressure of that. You got Kellen Moore, you got Nick Sirianni. Like, luckily, Sirianni's been there once. It was with different coordinator, but you know.
And I think it's you talk about the game plan. Like Jalen Hurts has barely thrown the ball over 20 times these playoffs, right? Yeah. Because again, like it's what works, and I feel like that narrative is turned into, well, Jalen Hurts is bad. It's like, brother, if it's working, you just keep whatever's working, right? Like, who cares how many throws, like receptions you have? You know, if you're a wide receiver, if you're winning the game, it does not matter. And Saquon has completely changed that offense. So what I mean by that is because even a few years ago, because what was it? Who they have? It wasn't Sproles back there. Who'd they have at running back, the Eagles, the first time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
It was Miles Sanders.
Sanders, that's who it was. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, Sproles way too late. Sorry, Sanders. Because they had a really good run game that year, too. They're completely different running backs, though. Yeah. Like, completely. Like, Sanders would be great in space. Sanders, yes, thank you. But I think that Saquon is just such a unique player that it is. You can hand the ball and he can go 60 yards. I don't know how many times he's going to do that against the Chiefs defense. But yeah, like stick with that game plan until it don't work no more. And then Jalen Hurts can still ball. You know, I think and just having that defense, because it's not like, oh man, they have this great run game. They have a good passing game, but it's great. Their defense is a difference maker. Like it is the best one. Like I think that they're going to have a good time. Yes. So Sanders had 16 yards in that game. So that's like what I'm saying. I don't think you're going to see that with Saquon. I'm saying that season though, right? Let me just make sure. So Miles Sanders, let's see stats, because I want to see what his stats were heading into that year. Because I'm pretty sure they had a really good run game that year. They were Philadelphia. Yeah, he had over 1,200 yards. So he had 1,269 yards, 11 touchdowns. Yeah, and he just didn't do it. So again, the defense of the Chiefs, and we'll talk about this on Friday, could definitely change some things. But Saquon's a different beast, man. And I think if they're just going to have to keep on playing the same game they've been playing all year, and I think they got a shot.
Yeah, it's really setting me up to have my heart broken.
Oh yeah,
I believe Philly can win. I believe they will win. But you never know. Like once the game starts, one bad play can change it all.
Literally.
Jake Elliott could be the difference.
Sure.
Historically, he was very good in the playoffs. This year, not a good season for him. And then, he had all those misses in the snow. He's missed a couple kicks. So I trust Harrison Butker more than Jake Elliott. And the Chiefs returner, Nico Remigio. He's had big returns in each of the playoff games. So like those are things that can, break a stalemate or flip a game quickly. And we've seen, in the last time the Eagles and Chiefs played in the Super Bowl, a big difference in that game was Kadarius Toney's punt return late.
Yep.
Like that changed it. That didn't only seal it up for the Chiefs, but it swung it back in their favor. So those types of plays are what you worry about when you're looking at the Eagles defense and Jalen Carter having so much success on that defensive line.
Yeah.
Brandon Graham could be back for Philly. Who knows if that's a good or bad thing, depending on like where he's at with his health. Which is going to be fun. I just like the matchup. There's not like one massive advantage for either team. So no Bradbury. No Bradbury this time.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good. I really do. So,
and don't forget Cooper DeJean could become the first white corner.
One of the big plays in the last Super Bowl with them, it was a turnover by Philadelphia. They fumbled it, right? And it was returned by Bolton, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. There's two possible fumbles, right? And then they got that second one or whatever.
Yeah. So we're going to see, my friend. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good game. We'll talk about on Friday how the Chiefs of course, can defeat the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. We appreciate you folks. I know it's a little bit wonky of a setup, just landed in New Orleans, so it'll probably be a little bit wonky on Friday, but it'll be on time on Friday at least.
Friday, so. Tom will be in an outhouse. Tune in.
That's right. I'll do it in the bathroom. It's fine.
Hell yeah.
What do you got coming out today?
I think I'm actually going to upload the halftime video today.
There you go.
I switched gears because Myles Garrett got that ready to go.
Yep.
What do you got, Tom?
Hell yeah. I got nothing. So yeah, I have a rest of the Rumble video coming out tomorrow. A little light on content this week just because I'm traveling and things have been a little bit crazy. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do GPS on Friday and we will rock and roll. And if you're in New Orleans at Radio Row, I'll say hi because I will be there momentarily. But appreciate the hell out of you folks. Yeah, we raised about $862. Appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you. And yeah, thank you folks. Thank you for watching and thanks for dealing with this nonsense. But
we're good.
Folks, we'll see you on Friday. We're going to rock and roll. Why the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. That's Brandon Perna. I'm Tom Grossi. This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
And you reached your destination.
Where are we?
Cajun country.
Whoa! Gumbo is